Egypt gets a certain amount of money from the United States every year.
Yeah.
You know? Why?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Conversation with Colin. I'm Greg, and this is my roommate, Colin. Now, sometimes Colin says crazy stuff. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I reach to my random topic pile, pull one out, toss it at him, and we talk it out for your amusement. If you like that, like the video, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends. Colin, are you ready?
Yes.
Today's topic of conversation is, if Colin became president, what would he do for this country? Submitted by Chris Bloch. Thanks, Chris.
First things first, get rid of that Congress so I can be an autocratic dictator.
You're going to be king.
No, I'm not kidding. I would, the president doesn't have a lot of power. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to hope that I was elected with a like-minded House and Senate, and then we would get down to business. Yeah.
Let's say that happens. What do you want to do? What are you going to do to this country?
The first thing that I would do is try to roll back the entitlement programs in a sense that
Entitlement programs being?
Like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Not to get rid of them because we can't get rid of them now. Like practically, like in terms of like libertarian principle, like I don't believe these programs should really exist.
Yeah, but too late.
But like they exist, and people deny, like the really. A lot of people that don't like them deny the fact that people depend on them and like set up their whole lives in anticipation of them. And when something like Social Security, which is 80 years old now, or Medicare, which was in the mid 60s. This isn't like a new thing where you can like take it away from someone now, but you have to do something in these programs to make them more solvent. And so like one of the things that I would do, like we hem and haw about raising the age of retirement like 1 year, and like what we really need to do is raise the age of retirement like 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm. What's it now, 65?
60. You can retire, I think as early as 62 and a half.
Okay.
With Social Security, but if you wait until I think you're even 67 or 69, you get more money every month. But they tell you to just take it at 65 because your average lifetime will likely not exceed the amount you were getting, even if you were getting paid more per month. So you would actually get paid more if you just took it at 65.
Gotcha.
Whatever. So I would say like you can't retire, start getting benefits from the government until you're 70 or 75. That would make the situation a lot more solvent for the people down the road because like we're paying into these systems now that
might not be there.
They're certainly at this rate not going to be there. So the one thing, Portillo, shut it. The one thing that we
broke out these beef sticks right before we shot. Now Portillo's on fucking cloud 9 running around here.
The one thing that we don't like to talk about is that we have systemic problems with these entitlement programs that need to be taken care of, and I feel like we either deal with them now when we can kind of deal with them in a way that best suits us, a series of bad situations, or just let the situation play itself out and it's going to be worse.
Yeah, but if we let it play it out, it'll be just like the bank thing, right? Where at the last second, government steps in and makes some kind of giant fucking move to save all this crap.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? I mean, like...
no, like I was telling you the one where we were talking about the end of the world or whatever.
Yeah.
How is everything going to go to crap? Like, I don't know. It's the same thing as always. We're always teetering on the edge, and then something always comes along to fucking, here's this thing.
Yeah, the banking situation was tough because that had everything to do with the economy, but like... And this isn't as serious in that specific way, but there's more unfunded liability in Medicare and especially in Social Security that people just pretend doesn't exist. Like we make promises that eventually, like the intake in correspondence with the money that's taken out of the system or whatever does not correspond with each other.
Okay.
So we have to do something about that, and raising payroll taxes to pay for it is not acceptable to me. We already pay way too much in payroll taxes. So that would be one thing I would want to tackle is to say like, okay, we're going to take care of our older senior citizens and stuff like that, but we just can't do it until you're 75. Like you got to like figure it out. You got
with the life expectancies going up so much too, right?
There are people that retire, back in the old days, especially in private companies, like you could retire at 50 or 55.
Yeah.
There are people that are 90 years old that have been retired for 35 years, that have been on Medicare and Social Security for 25 years. When Social Security was created in the 30s, in the early 30s, it was really a product of the Depression. Life expectancy was not 80 years old. We've never quite adjusted it to correspond with the increases in scientific and medical, save people's lives and stuff like that.
Portillo, come here.
And Medicare was a product of the 60s in which we wanted to take better care of elderly people that couldn't pay for their medical care. Because even in the 60s, medical care was quite expensive. So I would want to, that would be like one of the things that I'd really want to do. But I'd also want to get like our taxation and our spending problems under control as well. We spend too much money. We have an enormous amount of money that we spend on things like foreign aid, which we should be doing none of. We should have no foreign aid at all. There should be no foreign aid. And and what I mean by that is like a country gets a certain amount of money from us every year. Like that doesn't happen for us. Like Egypt gets a certain amount of money from the United States every year.
Yeah.
You know why? If we have like a situation where there's a humanitarian crisis, we can deal with that at that time and say like we're going to send $500 million worth of food here. We're going to do this or that. But we don't have to have this predictable system in which we give away money. That's not acceptable to me. You know. So I would try to, you know, nip that in the bud as well. I think we can cut spending across the board. I would love to cut spending in this country by 50%. I mean, that would the things like that would hurt the economy, but I feel like we would be better off in the long run. And what we really need to ask ourselves is like, are we willing to hurt ourselves now to make sure we're not hurt even worse later?
Yeah.
And these are the hard decisions that politicians must now make.
They don't though. They just sit there.
Well, no, because
nothing happens.
And like, so the problems are going to be bad if we take care of them now, or they're going to be cataclysmic if we don't take care of them in the future. Think about the situation. I mean, it's not quite parallel, but after World War I, we had this thing called the Treaty of Versailles, right? And Germany and Austria started this war with some of the Western Allied powers or whatever, and they lost, right? They lost. And this war was useless. The line never moved more than like 15 miles, like the front line of the battle. Like it was a total like waste of time, and a bunch of people died, and gas attacks and trench warfare. It's bad stuff. But this resulted in the Treaty of Versailles, in which Germany was blamed, rightfully so, for the war and had to pay reparations. And I almost look at our situation as having this, like they knew they had to pay for it and they couldn't pay for it, and they didn't know what they were going to do. The situation they did was they printed money to pay for their debts, hyperinflated their money, to the point where like if you walked into a cafe to order coffee and then sat down and drank it and then went to pay for it, it would cost more by the time you went and actually paid for it. Yeah, like hyperinflation was so radical at that time. So what I'm saying is like we're in a situation now where we have to like pay for these different things, and we know we have this predictable problem of money, but we don't do anything about it. And the only way out is to do something like really self-injurious like that, which is like to print money or
this is why you would
default
never.
on
This is
debt.
why you'll never get elected, because you'd be like saying we have to take the hurt now. And
We
nobody
do.
wants that. Nobody wants that.
I mean, there were people that making that argument in 2008. We were talking about like how much pain we would have been in 2008. We would have been employment would have been 25% if we let the banks fall.
Unemployment.
Yeah, unemployment rather would be like 25%. Like we would have had mass problems in this country, the likes of which we've never seen before. But that would have removed the systemic problems off of the books, and we would have been able to start again, and we would have been recovering, like have a real recovery by now.
Yeah.
What we have now is like a patchwork where we're like, yeah, unemployment's 7%, but it's really not. It's like 15%. They just lie to you and they mix the numbers up to not scare everyone. And then we still have those systemic problems. And so at some point, someone has to say, and I would be that person. I would like to be that person if I were to run for president, which would be like, we have real problems and we need to deal with them now, and it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to hurt really badly, and it might actually hurt our entire generation and make our generation the first generation that lives worse than our parents did. But our kids will be better off. Because right now we're living better than our parents, and our kids are going to live worse than we are. And so like by tackling specific instances like that, I think it would be the honest and right thing to do for posterity, you know?
Yeah.
The fucked up thing is that we didn't do anything. Our parents' generation are the one that fucked everything up.
Thanks a lot, Mom and Dad.
And our grandparents.
And for getting divorced.
And our grandparents' generation are the one that are taking everything from the system and not putting anything back.
Fucking grandma and grandpa.
So
fought in a World War II, think they can do whatever they want.
You know, I mean, it's not a matter of malice. It's a matter of like that is the fact. Like they're taking out more than they put in. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Because then the people behind you have to pay more.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a bunch of stuff I'd like to do like that. I mean, it's just I don't know, man. It's a complicated problem. I think we can cut defense spending by 50%.
You think
I
you're
think
ever gonna run for president?
No. But yeah, I think like everyone's like, well, what about defense? What about all the cut defense by 50%. Whatever. We spend more than the next 10 countries combined on our military. You know.
Okay.
I think we can do all sorts of practical things, but I would lower taxes. I would get rid of corporate tax completely. I would encourage companies to come here and build factories and have their corporate base here and not tax them at all. That way, we have people at work and they pay the taxes.
Right.
But at least they're working, you know?
Yep. Well, thanks, Chris Bloch, for that topic of conversation. Every time we talk about this stuff, I get so depressed. In 15 years, what's going to be like, Colin? They're not going to be an internet. They're not going to be an internet anymore. What are we going to do?
I don't know. The Chinese will launch an EMP or something, and
oh, then it's just like, okay, we're living Jericho. We're living Dark Angel.
Right.
I'm fine with both those scenarios. Jessica Alba. Look it up, everybody. Dark Angel. Thanks again, Chris. Colin, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this conversation. But what do you think? Are we totally fucked? leave a comment below. Then, in those same comments, tell us what you'd like to see Colin talk about. Then please like, subscribe, and share the video. And until next Tuesday or Thursday, have a conversational day.
I mean, I wouldn't use California as an example just because California is a complete fucking disaster.